I was thinking maybe we should do your quiz since we're kind of still talking about imagery and stuff. And so this is a new idea I have, and I got the idea from listening to you tell a story. I'm not big on listening to people read. Like, I'm not into audiobooks, but I really enjoyed your reading. It was really easy.
Thank you.
To sit and listen to, and all the imagery just really hit me. And I was like, I'm going to quiz Shawn on to see if you can recognize your own imagery. So
okay,
yeah,
all right, let's do it.
and I won't tell you the stories I got them from, but hopefully, hopefully you'll get them all right. But if you don't, I mean, it's first let's give people an idea of what range of years we're talking. So Brotherhood was written what year?
Brotherhood was in 2014, actually.
14, okay.
Or actually, it might be. Yeah, it's somewhere between 2013 and 2014. So yeah, that was a while back.
Yeah, and so and then Razorblade Tears is coming out this year, right?
Yeah, July 6th.
Okay, so I don't have anything from Razorblade Tears, of course, but Blacktop Wasteland was printed in 2020, and so we're looking at a 7-year range. So not many people can remember what they did 7 years ago, but we'll see if you can remember. All right.
Hey, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see. So where do dreams go to die?
I think that's Brotherhood of the Blade.
Okay.
I think. It has to be. No. What is it? I want to know. I'm not gonna guess.
Blacktop Wasteland, but it's
damn.
It's that question. I probably should have waited to ask you that question. That question isn't really fair. The other ones are more fair. That I got from an interview. You were saying that Blacktop Wasteland was where dreams go to die. So I don't know if that line is in the book.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, all right. That's cool. We'll scratch that. That's a mulligan. We'll scratch that one out.
I apologize. I started with a trick.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Okay, so who has a deep radio DJ voice that slithers over the airway like a snake covered in honey?
Oh, that's Kelvin from Blacktop Wasteland.
Oh, okay. Good. All right. Good job. So 1 out of 2, except the first one doesn't really count. So 1 out of 1.
Right.
Okay. So her voice was tinged with sadness and the edges like a blanket that had. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me start over. Her voice was tinged with sadness at the edges, like a blanket that had got too close to an open flame.
That is one of the characters from. I don't know the name of the characters. That's from My Darkest Prayer.
Nope. Brotherhood of the Blade.
Okay.
Harmony.
Oh man, I think I've used that. I think I've used that metaphor twice, so that's why I threw.
Yeah, and that's something I'm recognizing when I read the same writer back to back. I do notice those little. And I think that's cool. I love when I come across something that's like, oh, they used that in that other book, and it's not really cheating. It's just when you have a good image, you got to use it at least twice.
Yeah.
If you did it in every single book,
right.
I think, but yeah. So that's cool.
Right.
All right. So this next one might be a little tricky.
Okay.
you used an image 3 times, but in different ways, which you'll see in a second. But they were spread apart. I'm going to read it with gaps in between each, but keep in mind that this was 3 times in one chapter, and they were spaced out. So a choir of crickets and whippoorwills tried in vain to be heard. And then in the middle of the chapter, the crickets and whippoorwills were working themselves up into a frenzy. And then at the end of the chapter, the whippoorwills, frogs, and crickets resumed their concert.
Oh, that's Brotherhood of the Blue. I mean, that's Blacktop Wasteland. Blacktop Wasteland.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did that on purpose. I did that on purpose. I was carrying that metaphor through the chapter because I wanted to use the metaphors to try to give a sense of how long it was taking to get through that chapter, or how long the events were. So I was using it almost as a timekeeping device. So yeah.
It's a great device.
Yeah.
It's a great device. It's the power of 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
You repeat something 3 times, and it really sticks. You give enough space in between that it gives a sense of timing. Because it's like, at the beginning of an evening, the animals of the night sound a certain way, and it progresses, and then it. So that's really great.
Yeah, it's a beginning, a crescendo, and an ascension. So
right. All right. So the next one is, he moved like a cloud that had fallen to earth, smooth movements like he was dancing to music only he could hear.
I'm going to go on a limb and say that's Brotherhood of the Blade. Yep. I'm not sure, but I'm a Brotherhood of the Blade.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah.
Because it's a lot of sword fighting.
Yeah. And that was, what was the character's name? The son.
Catlow.
Catlow, yes. Yeah. Nice.
Catlow Credence. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this was from Harmony's point of view. She's watching her boyfriend get off his motorcycle and walk up, and she's thinking about his swag and how all the other girls said he doesn't have swag, but she's thinking his swag is that he doesn't have swag. Great.
Exactly.
His black shirt is all fitted to his V-frame.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
All right. So last one is, let's see.
All right.
He had a hornet's nest where his heart should be.
I think that's from a short story.
Yeah.
I think that's from Sugar.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was a great story.
That's a very cool. Thank you. That's a very cool idea. I think I'd be interested to see what other authors how they fare, because I think it's funny. It's like some things stick in your mind, and then other things they kind of just flit away depending on where you were at when you were writing it. So
exactly.
That's an interesting little. I like that. That was very cool.
Yeah. If you're up at 2:00 in the morning trying to get something out because it just won't quit in your brain, as opposed to if you're
right.
shiny squirrel, on coffee right away in the middle of the day.
Exactly.
It'll make a difference.
Exactly.
Well, cool. I think you won. I wasn't really keeping score.
It's like whose line is it anyway? The rules change and the points don't matter. So.
There you go. So with people I've had in the past, maybe I'll grab them and say, "Hey, let's do this 5-minute quiz." And then from now on, I think I'm going to give people this quiz.
That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that.
Thank you for being my first guest to be up for it. Thanks for the idea.
No problem. Not a problem at all.
Right on. So when you make listening song lists for each of your books.
Yeah.
So let's talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. Well, for me, I know a lot of writers have different ways that they like to write. Some people have to have total silence, but for me, I got to have music. I love music. I'm a huge music fan,
Yeah.
and I listen to. I think I listen to every genre except like heavy duty Scandinavian death metal. That's about it. I think everything else is up for grabs. So I listen to rock, hip hop, old school blues, punk, some country, roots rock, everything. I'm all over the place. Techno, EDM. I love everything. So what I like to do is make Spotify playlists for the chapters or the scenes in the book. And then once the book is done, then I just add a whole bunch of more songs to it. So like when I wrote Blacktop, initially it was like 15 songs that kind of were reflective of each chapters or themes. And then after I finished the book, I just added songs to it that I thought would fit with the story, with the book. So if you go on Spotify, like right now, I have a playlist up for Razorblade Tears, which is just Razorblade under S.A. Cosby or Sean Cosby. And it's a lot of songs that sort of are emblematic of what I'm trying to talk about. Like with Razorblade, it's a revenge story. Mm-hmm. It's about two fathers who are seeking revenge for the murders of their sons. And so it's a lot of blues, a lot of like I call it like bottom blues, Hellhound on My Trail and Southern music, Southern rock, Southern blues and stuff like that. A little bit of hip hop to kind of give a feel for these characters, because these guys are, both of these guys, one's black, one's white, but they're both ex-cons. They're tough guys. They're guys they're not unaccustomed to violence. And so I wanted the playlist to reflect that. Yeah. That these are hard guys, but at the same time, they also have a heart and soul, and they're trying to be better versions of themselves. And so I love doing it. And then and then when I'm writing, sometimes I'll listen to the playlist, or sometimes I'll listen to specific songs that fit with the scene I'm trying to write. Like for instance, if I'm writing a fighting scene, I'll listen to something really hard rock, really something driving, or some real hard hip hop or something like that. But if I'm writing a more emotional scene, I'll listen to something soft or something. That's what's easy listening, but something just a little slowed down. Yeah. And so I work that into my writing a lot. And so I love songwriters, regardless of genre. If you're a good songwriter, I don't care what genre you are. So I'll listen to Bruce Springsteen. I'll listen to Leonard Cohen. I'll listen to like Nas and Jay-Z. I'll listen to, Nora Jones. Anybody, if you're a good writer or songwriter, I'm a big fan of you. So that's sort of my little thing, my little writing technique. It works for me. Might not work for anybody else, but but I love music.
Yeah. Music. Yeah. For me, I found that with my novel, I with short stories, I haven't been writing a whole long time, and I haven't written a whole lot because I wrote a novel and that took up a large amount of time. So I have some short stories, but very few because I was writing a novel. And I found that I stopped writing my novel like 3/4 of the way through, and took up writing some short stories. And I did all those in silence. But then I can't remember why one day I put on some music. I think my house was noisy or something, so I just put on my headphones and I found some music. But I found it's really funny. I found that I can't listen to anything with lyrics when I'm writing, because I'm really hyper focused on the lyrics. And so I so I like to listen to dark classical, and I just recently discovered dark jazz, which I love. Dark noir jazz. I didn't even know that was a genre, but I really enjoy that because my stories kind of tend on the darker side, so that more melancholy sound. And I'll listen to some of the harder stuff for like adventure scenes, and And but yeah, no words unless it's in a different language or a language
Okay.
that I
That's
don't really
interesting.
understand. Yeah, isn't that funny? Yeah.
Yeah.
I get
I
to
listen to when I'm writing, I've written a few horror stories, short stories the past year. I got invited to write for two different horror themed anthologies.
That's great.
And I listened to dark. Yeah, and I had a lot of fun doing it. It was great fun. I listened to dark classical music. There's a guy,
Yeah.
I think his name is Holst, Holst.
Oh yeah.
And he has this whole symphony he wrote. Yeah, called The Planets, and I love that symphony.
Gosh, yeah.
Franz Liszt. I listen to Franz Liszt. He wrote a lot of dark chamber and symphony music. There's a guy, and I can't think of his name, but he wrote a symphony called Arcana, which, if you listen to Arcana, it's used in a lot of old school horror movies, a lot of black and white horror movies. They use it's, and you can tell the influence of it. So I love stuff like that. I'm big into stuff like that. I love creepy music, and I'm working on a book right now that's going to be a Southern Gothic murder mystery. It's not going to be supernatural, but it's going to have hopefully, it'll have really creepy atmosphere. Yeah. And so I'm listening to a lot of like really creepy, like, just sticky bottom of the barrel Southern blues and stuff to kind of evoke that atmosphere. Also, I listen to there's a band. Well, they're not together anymore. But there was a band called 16 Horsepower.
Oh,
and it was dark.
I love
16 just dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, dark, rootsy. I can't call it Southern Gothic, but Midwest Gothic roots country rock. It's hard to describe, but it's really like it puts you in a very particular mindset if you listen to it. I love it. So anyway, but I love music. Like I said, music influences my writing because I tend to write cinematically. So I think of the writing as a movie in my head. Yeah. And so there's always a running score to the scenes in my head. And so, like I said, I love music. So music really it's a passion. I can't Save My Life. I can't play anything, but I can't play any instruments. But I love music, and I'm a huge music fan. I'm very excited that hopefully we'll be able to go to concerts again soon. Yeah. I'm almost all vaxxed up, so hopefully that'll happen. I just love music. I love music. It's a big part of my writing process for me. And like you said, some writers can't write with words, or some people can't write with any sound at all. I have a friend who they wear what is it called, noise canceling headphones when they write at home, so they don't hear anything. Nothing. Which hey, that would creep me out, but works for them. So
yeah. I think we have a little bit of lag going, so it sounds like I can hear that it sounds like I'm interrupting you. I'm actually, yeah. So just so you know, we're getting a little weird overlap going, but oh
no, you're fine.
I was going to recommend, since you like Holst and Litz and all those folks, to check out Shostakovich. Shostakovich is an awesome. He's not really well known. I mean, I only learned about him a couple years ago, but I mean, he's been around. He was around for a long time, but he has some incredibly dark classical music that I think you'd enjoy. Shostakovich.
Yeah. I will definitely check that out. Like I said, I listen to all music, so yeah. I'm the type of person that if you're on a road trip with me and you give me the AUX chord, the aux chord, we're going to listen to everything from early 90s hip hop to grunge to, punk. Like I said, throw some classical in there. Yeah. We may listen to some Dolly Parton. I mean, I just love all music. So I'm all over the place.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's I'm not into the modern country. I can't stand the modern country, but like the older country is pretty good. Willie Nelson, Patsy Cline. I really like older country, but that's about kind of the only thing I'm like, no modern country.
There's a country artist that I really like that is sort of I guess you could say he's a throwback or a return to a different type of country artist. Guy named Tyler Childers. I love that dude. That dude is awesome. I really do. I love him. He's Tyler Childers. His music is insanely good, and he's one of the people I want to see when stuff opens up again. So hopefully that'll happen soon. So
yeah. Have you
all right.
Apocalyptica?
I have not heard of them, but I'm going to look them up because I probably like them.
Yeah.
Like I said, I like everything except like Scandinavian death metal. Everything else is up for grabs. So.
Really, yeah. My child is into the super aggressive death metal stuff, but yeah, that's a little intense. But
yeah, it doesn't.
Apocalyptica, they're heavy metal cellists.
So okay. I definitely gotta check that out.
Yeah, that's really cool. Actually, that was one of the last concerts I saw before COVID shut us all down. There were a few concerts we saw in the last couple of years, but then it was a Metallica. They did all Metallica. It was pretty cool. No words, wow. No singing, just them. It was insane. It was really great.
I think the last concert I saw before COVID was a friend of mine. We went to see a band from the 90s called Garbage. They were doing I guess like a throwback tour. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We had a good time.
Nice.
Yep.
So where do you go to see concerts?
Well, I live in Virginia, and there's two main. I live between two of the big cities in Virginia. So I live between Richmond to the north and Norfolk, Virginia, where the naval base is to the south. So when we go to Richmond, we go to a place called the National, and then in Norfolk there's a concert venue called the Norva, and then there's a couple of big concert halls in that area. There's the Norfolk Scope and the Hampton Coliseum. But most of the bands I like don't play those big venues. They play the more intimate, 500, 600 capacity theaters and stuff like that, which is always fun. It's a nice, especially if you go to a band that's got a pretty cool fan base. It's usually fun. You meet people. That's one thing I look forward to once everything opens back up again.